So, welcome to the first match of the evening. It's Darsan Station, and spawning to the middle right-hand side, in purple, we have our Zerg player Anolia. And to the middle left, we can actually say, in orange, playing Terran for LDLC, it's Miyako. The famous/infamous Miyako, who hasn't lost a single match this season, and is probably not planning on losing one during the last few play days before the playoffs. So we'll see what she's going to do this time around. Actually, it's quite interesting that Anolia obviously chose Darsan Station, a map that we don't really see that often, but yeah, the scouting distance is pretty short, so Anolia already gets a good scout of Miyako's main entrance, seeing that a barracks is already on its way, while she has already taken a hatchery in the back of her base. Miyako just going into refinery, nothing all too unusual here. It seems as if she wants to go into her usual one-to-one kind or one-on-one kind of build. Actually, Miyako likes to play on Darsan a lot, so if Anolia really had the plan of maybe surprising Miyako here with one build or the other, because she maybe have been thinking that Miyako doesn't play on it that often, then I think she's quite wrong, because Miyako has already told me that she actually, well, I wouldn't say prefers to play on that map, but that she actually likes to play on that map, and that she has some special builds prepared on that map as well. So we'll see if we're going to see something spectacular or maybe unusual here, or if she just go through with her usual build, which is just always a good thing to do if you face a player you haven't played before. The thing is that Miyako and Anolia actually played against each other during the off-season tournament, the Real Starcraft Master Tournament, but of course that were different terms because everyone had to switch races back and forth back then. So you can't really say that they played against each other with their usual styles. And here we go with the 1-1-1 build, the barracks with a reactor into marine production, a factory over here with a tech lab that is probably going to switch out with the starport as soon as it's finished. But in the meantime, she might even build either a tank or a widow mine that she can then just use for the first push with a few marines and a medivac out. The medivac will then help to move the tank around once it's sieged using the tanky-vac mechanic. So we'll see how this is going to work out or not. A roach run already on the way for Anolia, so it really seems as if Anolia just wants to go into quick roaches and then just burst through Miyako's main ramp entrance by just producing quick roaches and just surprising her. I don't really know if it's going to work. I mean, Miyako will have at least one tank out, maybe even a second one, if she chooses to produce another one there. We'll see to that later on. Yeah, and in the meantime, she just walls off the back door towards her natural base. Normally, that's not a big threat early on, because in order to get there, the Zerg player would have to break through would have to play through her own rocks in order to take the route up to here, to that base over there, and then like being over here back into the main, into the natural entrance. And you normally have more than enough time to wall this off completely. But of course, sometimes it just happens that players tend to forget that there's this back entrance, and then you can just rush in without anything happen to you. So Miyako also pulled some SCVs, so she will be able to produce some bunkers and maybe even counter repair the medivac or the siege tank if necessary. So far, Miyako is not close enough to put siege fire onto the hatchery or the workers that are trying to come over here. Anolia has already quite a big amount of roaches out here and will probably be able to just take out the small force that Miyako sent over to her. So has to be careful with the tank over here. There's also, was there a second tank already over there? I think Miyako had already rallied the second tank as well, but she just loaded everything in. And yeah, there's the second one as well. So Anolia now moving out. Don't know if this really is the best decision she could make. I mean, she must know that Miyako is still around somewhere. And now with the 2 tank, this push just gets really annoying. There's this little abusive place here where Miyako can just put her tank and actually nothing can attack her at all. So she can defend or protect her own siege tank that's on the high ground. And while the high ground tank is just setting fire towards that mineral line over here and just killing almost everything. In the meantime, Anolia just can't really decide whether she wants to push up here or not. Decides to retreat, no, decides to attack. But in the meantime, Miyako just managed to get out another siege tank over here, plus a liberator. And now we have workers also in line to counter-repair the depots, so they will never gonna fall. And the roaches will just sit here getting shot at from the tank and the liberator in the meantime. And I don't really see Anolia being able to do anything. I mean, the only thing or the only opportunity she really has is to like get all in. She will never get either of these tanks. I mean, the only thing that Miyako has to take care of right now is just microing these two siege tanks. And yeah, it's not as easy as it seems to be, but it's quite easily done if that's the only thing that requires your attention. So yeah, I mean, Anolia will never be able to clear these two tanks over here. Maybe she now just wants to try and get this debris torn down, but no, actually she just morphs a few roaches into ravagers. And now she might be able to actually attack these tanks with corrosive biles and also the liberator, but still, I mean, it's quite difficult. If the Terran is paying attention and has enough medivacs out here, it should always be possible to just fly away with the help of the tankivacs, or with the help of the medivacs, and then just fire again onto these roaches and ravagers. And the biggest problem, of course, is while Miyako is just keeping Anolia occupied with this little push over here that actually only consists of 2 tanks and 2 medivacs and a few marines down here, Miyako can just comfortably take another base over here, building up more barracks, and her whole infrastructure just gets better minute after minute. So even if Anolia finally managed to clear this little push over here, which she might be able in just a few seconds, maybe now throwing maybe the right bile, no, not quite, it's still there, and Anolia just gives up. Miyako takes the first game. Welcome to Galactic Process. It's the second map of the evening, and this match between the players spawning to the top right hand side in purple, Anolia, and our orange Terran spawning to the bottom left-hand side in orange, it's Miyako, who's already trying to put a supply depot in order to wall off her main entrance. Always a thing you want to do against Zerg. It's not that common anymore that Zerg players really invest into an early pool and early gas and try to go for a heavy rushed push. Although we now have to say that Anolia actually just goes for an extractor first and will then probably go into a pool and not a hatch first, which is quite unusual in this matchup. So while I was just talking about it, seems as if Anolia might want to commit to something like a Baneling bust, so we'll see how this is going to work out. But yeah, still, Terrans just don't want to take the risk and are always just dropping in some supply depots. It's also a good thing for later on if the Zerg gets speedlings eventually, and the Zerglings just coming in from different angles, and some Zerglings just try to sneak by into the main base. You will always just have the quick chance to rise that supply depot, and then the Zerglings won't get in anymore. Okay, going into a second hatchery now after taking the spawning pool and the gas very early on. So she should be able to produce Zergling speed in just a minute here. There's enough gas, so we'll probably kick in just a few seconds. Okay, first Reaper on its way while the command center is being built behind, even in the safe place. Sometimes Terrans just want to build the base down here where it's actually supposed to be later on, because placing it here and then just flying it down already costs you a lot of money and a lot of because of the mining time lost. That you can't get while it's flying down here. But of course this is a very wide open region here after your natural base entrance is actually pretty far away, and even if you wall that off, the Zerg could just come from here, tearing down that debris over here, or just coming from the right angle in order to surprise the Terran player. So that's why you normally don't want to build it down there, because you could always get surprised by a lot of Zerglings maybe that just ran in and kill everything off, and you don't want to lose that command center while it's building. That's just even worse than having to fly it down there and just losing a little bit of mining time over there. So Miyako's just scouted that there were quite a lot of links and that speed was already being researched. Of course, she didn't really find out the exact timing of when everything started off, but seeing also the late hatchery and no drones over here whatsoever should actually have tipped her off what might be headed her way. So she starts producing, but actually she doesn't really do anything all too different from her usual build. This time around it's not going to be a tank, but it's going to be a Widow Mine. Also quite interesting. Maybe she just wants it to have for Banelings. Maybe she's still now expecting a Baneling bust, and this is why she just goes into a mine. Maybe she just wants to have the possibility to also drop the units once they are all out, just using the mine in the meantime, if a push was headed her way. Actually, it's quite interesting because a lot of Terrans just decide to go for tanks on this map rather than mines. Because, like for instance, you have a very abusable edge over here towards the third base where you can just park tanks and the tanks can start shooting at that hatch over here, and if these rocks are not torn down, it's very difficult for a Zerg player to actually catch the tanks over there. So that's a really mean position there. So as we said before, this is actually a push that Miyako likes to do a lot. Now even being lucky a little bit, seeing that Ravagers are already headed towards her position. So let's see if she actually turns around. No, she doesn't. She's really comfortable with this push coming, thinking that she will be able to hold it without having to pull this push back. She also knows, of course, that a lot of units are headed her way, so nothing will be at home, so she will probably be able to do a lot of counter pressure. The question is if she will be able to hold the main push, which is like almost all in because there are no workers over here whatsoever. So Miyako already starting to lose a few workers over here. Actually, the tank doing a magnificent job over here, just keeping the Ling and Roach count very low. The counter repair just keeps this depot alive for quite some time, and now Anolia just standing at the bottom of the ramp, losing all of her units. Miyako just throwing down a supply depot because she was just supply booked for a minute while microing all of these units. Now she's finally managed to get her own units and get enough air for herself, just take a breath, and just having the possibility to take that medevac inside the main base, even doing some more damage over here, making Anolia retreat here from that point on. She now has a siege tank in position and the second one as well. Loses all of her units inside the main base, having only killed 2 workers thus far, but it's actually not that bad anyways, because Miyako doesn't really need to do that much additional damage here. She's just the one who actually needs to hold, because her opponent is just so far behind. If we have a look at the units tab right now, we can see that there's 25 SCVs plus 2 mules. Of course, it won't Miyako won't be able to just mine from her main base forever due to the legacy of the Void change with the economy. This main base will be dry in quite some time, but after having driven everything back, she will now be able to just fly her orbital command back to down here. Will even be able to produce a third if she wants to, and maybe she will even do it over here while just counter pushing with a few of her tankivacs and another medevac over here and the few marines she has right now. So let's see if she will be able to just micro around a little bit and taking out more of Anolia's units. Yeah, actually she will. So just being annoying as fuck once more. That's how we know Miyako. In the meantime, Anolia just tries to make up for her lost mining time by producing a lot of workers. Has to be careful now. I mean, a drop is headed her way, and she doesn't have a lot of units or a lot of static defense around in order to... Yeah, these static defense should actually not be doing all too well. I mean, the Marines are around. The tanks are also here to clean these buildings in an instant once they don't have to care about any units anymore. And there's the first Liberator out as well, another Liberator incoming. Stim will be done in just a few minutes or just a few seconds. Well, actually about a minute. But it's probably something that Miyako won't even need anymore. This base is destined to go down. There's really not much that Anolia can actually do. Just tries desperately to get that Spore Crawler down to help her out with a Liberator, but I mean, a Spore Crawler alone won't suffice. Not against these Marines and the siege tanks and all the other units that are rallied across the map. So now finally going for the final attack. That's the only units that Anolia has. Tries to take out one tank at least, but Miyako is already there, protecting it with the Marines and the medevacs as well. GG, and Miyako takes the second game. It's Frost. I think maybe one of the largest maps on the map pool. Well, at least one of them, if not the largest. Spawning to the top left-hand position in purple, we have our Zerg player Anolia. And to the bottom left in orange, it's Miyako, who's leading 2-0 already. Just has to take one more game to get her 10th victory in this season of the FSL. And she starts, as we're used of Terrans, hasn't actually cheesed once in this series. I don't actually know if Miyako chose to cheese in any of her matches against Zerg, like doing a 3-Rex Reaper build or something like that. Maybe she did, but I'm not quite certain about it anymore. So maybe you want to have a look at all the VODs you can see on my YouTube channel. And there you may be able to find one of Miyako's games where she actually cheeses. Because she actually tended to be quite well with her cheeses back when I used to cast her in the ESL female tournaments. And she was very unpredictable with her builds and everything she did. Because she used to play some macro games here and there, but also some cheese every now and then. And cheeses that were actually really well designed for the maps you were playing on, and was always very a lot of fun to watch her. So this time around she decides to build the command center down here. That's partly due to the map, because it's such a huge ass map and it will quite take some time for the opponent to get to the position where your natural base is, even if the opponent has a lot of luck scouting the opponent as early as Anolia does right now. And then of course there's just a very small ramp, and that's a very small entrance towards your natural base, and it's easily blocked, and it's actually the only entrance towards your natural base. So it's a lot easier to block this off than on the last map. So Reaper now on the way, just trying to get in here right in front, trying to get some information. First few links are already out. Miyako now knows where the first few links are. She sees that there are, again, already a lot of links out. Will now just walk in with a Reaper, sees that the spawning pool is already wiggling, and that something is being researched. Well, what can it be? Has to be careful not to lose a Reaper, but I think she won't. There's the Reaper stair over here, so it will just escape and heal up a little bit. And once it's reached full health again, Miyako will probably just move in once more, trying to get more information over here. So in the meantime, she just tries to saturate her own minerals over here. Speed is almost done. Well, okay, more than halfway done. And in the meantime, we have the factory down here for Miyako. This time around, she's actually changed it up a little bit. Has already produced another Rex with a tech lab over here, so Stim will be a lot quicker this time around. So I think we can just count on a very hard push with tanks and Marines with Stim. So let's see how this is going to work out for her. In the meantime, the Reaper just gets in once more, gets all the necessary information. Lynx not having speed yet, won't be able to catch the Reaper, but now they finally have it, and the Reaper has to pay for all the information with its life. So Anolia just trying to move around with her overlords, checking for a third base, sees that none is there. Would be untypical for a third base right now. This overlord is more for the main base scouting, so she just tries to get something into position. Maybe she even wants again to like go for an early push, and there it is. It's it's 20 more links. This time around it's not as easy to predict what's headed to Miyako's way by Miyako. Miyako didn't really get all the information, and she didn't really see how many drones were back down here. And now Anolia actually has an overlord in position, so she might maybe, I don't know, it seems as if she really wants to break through the main entrance. I think it would be a safer bet to just walk up here and then just morph this overlord into a drop overlord, and then just move everything inside the main base, and just to avoid this wall over here. But yeah, this is a lot of banelings. Calaris, I don't really know if this is going to work out quite well or not. We will see. Miyako doesn't really know that much yet. She doesn't have a tank in position up on the high ground, something you would normally have if you just wanted to protect that area from lings and banelings. Don't really like these 4 banelings just moving across, trying. Actually, you need one more. But the SCVs are a little bit late to repair. Now the Zerglings are all in. Unfortunately, most of the Zerglings just die in a Widow Mine shot down here from Miyako, but now the rest of the banelings just move in. Okay, actually, it seems as if Anolia is not really falling for the trap with the SCVs here, doesn't want to run most of her banelings into the SCVs yet, actually wants to wait until she finally gets the possibility to maybe get some of the Marines, but actually kills a lot of workers here. 12 workers have already been killed. Miyako now has to run across the map with only Marines and a few medevacs, while in the meantime, Anolia has the possibility to produce more units. Seems as if her injects weren't really that good on point, maybe, because she doesn't have that many larvae to work with, so she will actually use an overlord over here on the map that the Marines are going to take out. Now she actually knows what's headed her way and where it's going to. Miyako just marching across the map right towards the third base, might even be able to take it out. I mean, there's 16 more lings on the way, we have already 3 banelings on the way as well, but yeah, this queen is going to die. We have nothing against the medevacs here. Another overlord also just faces his awful fate. And now we finally have the possibility to move the banelings over here, but she has to be careful with only Zerglings. Miyako will probably be able to focus fire the banelings down, actually gets all of them. And lings alone, especially in that position, won't really do against that amount of stimp bio. So Anolia just losing all of her lings for almost nothing there. I think she should have really walked in with lings and banelings at the same time, so that at least she would have been able to, so at least it would have been more difficult for Miyako to focus all the banelings down. Miyako takes out the third, just loads up into her medevacs, and now even tries to get the lings into another awful position where she just can take down more of them with the units from the low ground. Now moves in once more, tries to do still more damage. I mean, she's already done all the damage she needed, but she still wants more. Miyako just smells the blood in the water, now moves forward once more. Banelings actually were in kind of a nice position on creep, but it seems as if the baneling speed is also still not done. Now Anolia moving in once more with all the links, tries to get a good surround here, but it's actually still just not enough. Miyako again focuses down one of the banelings that were trying to get 2 wards away, and now it's desperate time already, ladies and gentlemen. Anolia just tries to make something happen with the drones, but Miyako just stutters stepping out of the confinement, and it's over. GG, and Miyako takes the series with a quick 3-0.